Hi, I'm Healy Means. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a Backyard Shenanigans video. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is very early on April 30th, so we are in the last day of April. I have been working diligently to finish up the Backyard Shenanigans garden layout, renovation, prepping the raised beds, finally starting my seeds, just working all over the garden, y'all. It has been tough. It has been a lot of hard, vigorous work. I could not have done it without all of the people who helped me. You know who you are. Thank you so much. And y'all, during this last day of April, I'm trying to finish up the last of my 2026 garden chores. This is one of my 3 Vego garden raised beds. This is the 9-in-1 configuration, and these are 2x8 beds. So I have 3 of these, and today what I want to do with all 3 beds is top them off. The bed is about 85 to 90% full. It's not like I have a lot of space at the top of the bed, but I do have some space. And while I do want to save a little bit of space for mulch, I feel like I need just a little bit more soil to top things off. If you remember, a couple weeks ago I went to Dixieline. There was a spring event and a seed swap, and I went there to check it out. Y'all know my main thing was the seed swap, but they had some pretty good sales too. There were a bunch of tents, a bunch of vendors, and one of the vendors was True Organic. Now, if you're familiar as I was, I knew True Organic for all of their fertilizers and soil amendments, the pretty color bags, y'all. I liked it, and I have some True Organic products in my garden stash. But what I didn't have was a brand new product that they just released at that Dixieline spring sale event. True Organic is moving into the soil space. There's a compost, and then I think they might even have something else. I'm always looking for soil. Y'all know just not long ago before that, I was talking about how I'm waiting for these big box stores to put their soil on sale. Y'all, we always waiting. It seems like they're doing the sales later and later each year, if they do them at all. Well, thankfully, at this Dixieline event, True Organic was there. There was a vendor tent, and a gentleman was talking about the company's new products. Now, there's garden soil, there's potting soil, a bunch of different varieties of soil. But what I needed was something that I could use outdoors to put in my raised beds. They had it, y'all. It's called the True Organic Indoor and Outdoor Potting Mix. Initially, I purchased 4 bags of this True Organic Indoor and Outdoor Potting Mix. And one of the things I like about this product is that I can also use it for seed starting. Now, I haven't tried that yet, but you can imagine that I will. It does have a little fertilizer in it. It says it's great for house plants, container plants, and edibles. I like that. It's OMRI listed. That means it's certified organic. It's a made in America product, and the company is locally here in California, so I like that. Another thing that's different with this potting mix is that it is 100% peat-free, so it uses Coco Coir. That's interesting to me because I've never used Coco Coir in any amount where I could form an opinion of whether I liked it or I didn't like it, so this will definitely be a test to that. If you just heard that noise, it's the pool system coming on. The filter system comes on at a particular time and runs all day. But when it first comes on, this is what you hear and this is what you would see. That also means that the pool guy is going to be here soon. So I want to try to record this video and get out of his way. If you saw my video last week, you know that he made a visit while I was recording. So the task here is simple. I'm just going to top off my bed with some of the True Organic soil. I'm also going to add some azomite, and I'm also going to add some Dr. Herb Pure Gold fertilizer. It's a very light fertilizer, 222, nothing too heavy, but I think that's all these beds need. I was also thinking about adding just a little bit of gypsum for some calcium and sulfur. I'm not sure yet, but if I decide to do it, it's right here. I have my Bluetooth in, so I hope this catches my voice while I'm talking to you. But basically, I'm just going to rip open the bag. I'm going to spread it across. Hopefully one bag will be enough to spread across the entire space. Again, I'm not trying to fill it to the tip top because I do want to leave some space for mulch. But I want to get as close as I can. Before I add this potting mix to my raised bed, I just want you to look at the soil and see it is so light and it's so fluffy. Again, this is Coco Coir. There's no peat in here. You do see some perlite and you do see some very fine pieces of wood. Here's probably the biggest piece that you'll find, and that's okay because I'm putting this in a raised bed. If I was using this as a starter mix, I would sift this piece out, but it's going in a raised bed, so I don't mind. But look at the majority of it. There's no junk, y'all. There's no trash, and that's what I like. As I mentioned, this is going to be my first time using a Coco Coir product to scale. So we're going to see how that works because the rest of the raised bed is filled with peat moss, perlite, and old garden soil. What I want to do is just kind of mix this in with the soil. Then I'm going to add my azomite and then the Dr. Earths. I topped off the raised bed with the True Organic Indoor and Outdoor Potting Mix. It was the perfect amount. The 1.5 cubic foot bag was the perfect amount to top off of this bed. I've sprinkled in my amendments, which was the azomite, the Dr. Earths, pure gold fertilizer, and just a little bit of gypsum. I'm going to mix these in, and then I'm going to water it in. I've been watering these beds in probably once a week since I set them up. And then I also fill up the oils probably every maybe 4 or 5 days. And it just helps to keep the soil moist while I'm waiting to transplant my starts into the beds. So it's very important, especially if you don't have your soil mulched, because I don't have it mulched right now. But you want to keep it moist. You don't want to let your soil dry completely out, because what will happen is your plants will start growing, and then you'll be watering, say, the top maybe inch or so of soil, and you think everything is good, but the vast majority of the depth of your soil will be dry. And of course, that's not good for the plants. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2 raised beds, but I just wanted to show you how I top off my raised beds using True Organic's new product, which is their indoor and outdoor potting mix. And like I said, there's a few more formulas of soil, and they also have a compost. I'm not sure when it will be available where. When I went to the Dixieline spring sale event 2 weeks ago, that store was the first store to get the product and was the only store that had it. Even the Dixieline closer to my house didn't have it. So when I went back to buy 4 more bags, because I initially purchased 4 bags at the sale event, when I went back to purchase 4 more bags, I had to go to that exact location because even the Dixieline closer to my home does not have it. So I'm hoping that they fix that pretty quickly because it was quite a drive. But I hope that it's worth it. So far, so good. I like the mix. I like the makeup. I like the quality. It's going to be interesting to me to see how the plants do with the mix of Coco Coir and perlite. Of course, with the old garden soil, but this will be my first time mixing perlite and Coco Coir that I can remember. And I want to see how the plants respond. If I really like the True Organic potting mix, I'm going to continue topping off my beds with that potting mix instead of continuing to add peat moss based products. Now, I like peat moss. I know that there's controversy with peat moss, but I like peat moss. I use it. I'm going to continue to use it. But I'm looking for a quality potting mix. And it just so happened that True Organics potting mix is peat-free. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. So I'm going to water this bed several more times in the next 2 to 4 weeks until my seedlings are ready to be transplanted in these beds. And like I said, I also fill up the Oilers. I haven't done it in a few days, so this one is almost empty. But I fill these up. And this just helps to ensure that the depth of the soil stays moist. So I'm just going to continue to fill the Oilers. I have this one and then I have one more. After I finish that, I'm going to close this bed. This Vego Garden cover mesh system has really done an outstanding job in keeping everything out of this bed. It was a lot of hard work preparing this bed and getting everything together, and the last thing that I wanted was for a bunch of bugs and pests and stuff to be in here messing up this bed after all of my hard work. There's no moths, or I don't see any roly-polies or anything like that in here. And I want to keep it that way for as long as possible. Now, I am going to be growing corn in this bed, so I know that I'm going to have to, at some point, take the cover system off. But by the time the corn grows the height of this mesh system, they should be strong enough to hold off any pest pressure, I hope. So just a little bit more watering, and like I said, I'll do this several more times over the next 2 to 4 weeks. I did check my seed starting trays. Nothing has germinated yet, but I only sowed the seeds between 2 and 4 days ago. So I wasn't really expecting to see anything. I made sure that the soil was still moist. I definitely don't want them to dry out. And I'm actually considering bringing the trays and sitting them inside these areas. I just wanted to top off the beds first, but I think I'm going to take the trays and put them in the raised bed where the plants will be transplanted. So that's something that I'm considering, and it's not going to be a perfect matchup, but it'll be close enough. But right now, I'm just going to zip the cover down because I don't want anything to get into it. So I finished topping off my beds with the True Organic indoor-outdoor potting mix. It is 100% peat-free. It does have a little bit of fertilizer in it as a bonus, you can use it for seed starting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for this video. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Click that notifications bell. Make sure it is set to all. Like, comment, and share with everyone you know. And until next time, be safe, be well, and be blessed.